Hello once again and welcome to Monaco and the PokerStars and Monte Carlo Casino EPT, and today is when we begin our main event coverage. It's day 2 of this prestigious MTT, and from now right through until Friday it is all about the main. I am James Hartigan, alongside me Maria Ho.
Hi.
Maria, great to have you with us for our main event coverage here on PokerStars TV. Maria, let's talk about the main event. So for the first time ever, the event here in Monte Carlo had a single re-entry. Looks like 775 total entries, including 114 re-entries. I'll be honest with you, that's more second bullets fired than I thought there would be. And these are the chip leaders coming into play. Plenty of names that we are familiar with, including Ali Reza Fatehi, who made the final table of the Super High Roller a couple of days ago, was in the Cash Challenge last year. Maxim Paniak made the final table of this very tournament 12 months ago. Nick Petrangelo, I mean, just keeps putting up results, Maria. He's a very impressive player. And we've also got Denis Timofeyev, who had a deep run in Panama last year. Don't know too much about the chip leader, Mark Dermidjian. Starts the day, though, with 220 big blinds.
That's a lot of play that he has left for, I mean, you know, people come into day 2 with big stacks, though, and they kind of don't know what to do with themselves. That's too many chips sometimes.
And in case you're thinking that's a graphics error at the bottom of the screen, it isn't. Blinds are 800, 1600 with a 1600 ante, which is posted by the player in the big blind. I think it's going to be interesting to see how it changes the dynamic, how it changes the pace of play today. Here's the lineup on the main stage, by the way. 2 former champs on the EPT, including Adrian Mateos, who won this very event in 2015. Patrick Antonius has opened under the gun with ace-king, and Adrian Mateos, the other former EPT champ at the table, has queens on the button. Mateos is the table chip leader with a 76 big blind stack. Antonius has 40 bigs behind. Mateos has re-raised to 11K.
I don't think we're going to see Antonius do anything else other than shove over his 3-bet given the stack sizes. Plus, Adrian's known to be an aggressive player. Even though Antonius did raise from under the gun, I think you can still make some arguments in your head that a player like Mateos will be 3-betting you light sometimes.
All in.
There's the shove with the ace-king, and the call from Mateos. It is the sickest and classicest of races, Joe. Only the 3rd hand of the day.
Like fat stacks of cash versus bling. One of these 2 hands has a slight mathematical advantage.
Patrick, the player at risk and the slight underdog in this situation. He needs to hit, or we lose the monumentally attractive, although slightly tired-looking Patrick Antonius. Twitch is not happy that there is the prospect of losing Antonius.
I feel like we just get a glimpse of him every year.
Not the flop he was looking for. And if there's a diamond on the turn, that's going to take away some of his outs. Well, it's the king of spades. And now it's Mateos who needs to hit. Patrick doubles up unless Adrian can spike a queen on the river. There's a 6. Ace-king gets there. Patrick doubles up.
Something like this.
Antonius now table chip leader with 85 big blinds. Adrian Mateos down to 35 bigs, below an average stack. The tournament average right now being 77,500 with around 300 players remaining.
Isn't it kind of weak, though, that Patrick starts chirping as soon as he takes that pot? It's the most I've heard him say in years.
Oh, kings for Ashri Lamani.
He loves the game of poker, and he loves Ashri Lamani.
Every country in the world should have their own version of Bryn Kenny. This is Israel's Bryn Kenny.
That's why they call him Bryn Kenny World.
Mateos with 8-6 off. A quick question from Herman, hashtag PokerStars TV on Twitter. Only one player posting the ante is a great new thing. Speeds and cleans up the game, but why is it the big blind and not, for example, the button? What are the pros and cons behind deciding this? Well, I think as Maria explained, and wow, flop better, Adrian. Pair and open-ended straight draw, he's not going anywhere. When you make it the big blind ante, you're always having the ante posted. There will be some hands in certain situations where you don't have a button or you don't have a small blind. Whereas if you make it a big blind ante, there is always one player posting the ante. And I guess there are pros and cons to each approach, Maria.
Yeah, I mean, I found that it just makes more sense for the big blind to ante, but either way, I think just one person anteing is far superior to the way that it's still mostly done, which is everybody anteing. So I think, you know, as time goes by and this is more implemented, we can kind of, you know, discuss what is the best option. But for now, I just like that it's in play here.
I'm really going to miss the dealer asking me every hand to put my ante out. It's one of the only human interactions I have. I will still forget in the big blind.
Wow, Mateos gets there.
And that's unfortunate for Lamani. I really liked the way he played this hand. He checked back that flop because he knows that he's going to get check raised a lot on that board texture. He doesn't necessarily want to get it in on that kind of flop with kings, even though it's an overpair. And then he delayed c-bet the turn, which Adrian called, and now it's obviously just a terrible run out. But I think he can get away from it, and I think that's the beauty of playing it the way that he did. This is the worst card for him. This or a 7, you
right,
know?
if he knows that he doesn't want to get it in on that flop, then this is a very bad river.
So Lamani's clock is running right now. If he goes over the 30-second mark, he'll have to surrender one of those time bank cards, each one worth 30 seconds.
And I think this is a fine spot to definitely use that time bank. It is for half of his stack. And I'm sure that's something he's thinking about. He's thinking about Mateos's river sizing here.
He gets called.
It's just too easy.
Mateos tables the straight. Now, obviously, he did lose a chunk to Patrick in that big flip earlier on. Gets a bit back from Lamani. And Adrian is now playing around the tournament average, 81K, a 50 big blind stack.
Jimmy's going all in. Jimmy's ahead.
So it's Guerrero versus Lowe.
It's nice to find a way above average hand, though, in the big blind when you have 6 bigs.
Jimmy doesn't want to see paint.
He agrees. So far, so good. Obviously,
Jack of spade.
some running straight flush possibilities for Lowe. 6 immediate outs. 6 cards for Guerrero to fade. Ooh. Now things get
Okay, he follows this hand.
a little bit better for Jimmy. Lowe needs a king or a jack that is not the jack of spades. Ace high wins.
Jimmy's doubling up. Jimmy the toothpick.
16.
The other Jimmy, Jimmy T 1996, has tweeted, wow, just got burned by Stapes, and I'm actually okay with it. This is why I will always prefer watching PokerStars TV over any other poker show / stream.
It's the only show where we directly, individually insult members of the audience. You're welcome.
So Jimmy Guerrero all in again, and Adrian Mateos calls out of the big blind. King 10 against ace 8.
He's not folding king 10 of hearts 2 hands in a row. Jimmy is ahead.
And Jimmy is now behind because Mateos has flopped top pair, and Guerrero now needs an ace to survive.
You're never going to win a 60-40 twice in a row.
Barry Greenstein is required.
Jimmy's down.
Barry denied.
Good luck, guys. 19. Yeah, good luck.
Jimmy the toothpick. It was brief, but meaningful. What about Cool Shen? Is he here this year?
Not a former champion, and I haven't seen him. Apparently he is here in Monte Carlo. Didn't spot his name on the player list this morning. Tell you whose name I did spot, and I thought of you, Joe. Hussein Ensan.
Hossein in the membrane. Insan in the brand. Eights again for DeMulder. Hey, DeMulder, where's DeScully? Huh? Where's DeScully?
Oh, dear. We have had it confirmed, by the way, that Bruno Coolshen Lopez was in at the start of day 2. We have not yet been able to confirm if he's still in at this point on day 2. Interesting spot here. Simunich 3-betting from the button. He has re-raised to 11,500.
Everyone with this tail is loosey-goosey, and I like it.
Yeah, and I definitely think 9-7 of diamonds plays better as a 3-bet than as a call. I would prefer to call Jack 10 of diamonds, but 3-bet 9-7 of diamonds in position. And sometimes, you know, it depends, but I would like to think that if Mateos was the one who opened, we would have seen the same 3-bet from Simonic, but sometimes you also target with your 3-bets someone that you might think is a weaker player post.
DeMulder shoves, gets a fold. Antonius opens with ace-queen. Seems to be the only hand we see him play. Oh, our friend Kanunikov has got jacks and announces all in. Oh, just call. I swear I heard all in there.
I heard him say something, but I guess he just announced a call. I was going to say, that's a quick all in for jacks.
DeMulder with ace-jack on the button. Is he thinking of getting squeezy?
Yeah, but I don't know if ace-jack is the hand in this spot to get squeezy with.
Well,
More like S-queasy, because you feel sick.
he's got rid of Antonius, but has not got rid of Yuri. What? No ace?
Maximum pain on the river. Man, when you have 2 jacks and it comes 9 high, you can't even believe it. It's like flopping quads.
DeMolder has continued for 10,300. Kanunikov not going anywhere.
Yuri a phase tournament.
And now you see that, you know, Kanunikov basically has just slightly less than pot back. So I would imagine if DeMolder's going to follow up with this, he's going to try to put him all in on the turn, unless it looks like Kanunikov is thinking about just jamming this turn into him. Oh, no, he checks. But
Oh, good lookalike rather by Ed Kilworth, one of our Twitch mods. Is that Michael Evis? Guy runs Glastonbury. No. You should have seen Joe ultimately lost in a sea of Paul Daniels and Debbie McGee references yesterday. Check, check on the turn. This is definitely the last hand of the level, by the way. The clock has just ticked into the break, and no ace on the river, no Barry Greenstein.
No overcards at all for Jackson. He checks.
I'm surprised by this.
You think he's going for a check raise with jacks?
You can never be too careful with jacks.
That's probably what it is.
So that brings the first level, the first session of the day to a close.
Unikov, 10 balls.
Jamie Reynolds is asking, what are the chances of Victoria Cora-Mitchell becoming a 3-time EPT champ? Well, she's still got chips here on day 2.
Christoph, he's in with King Jack offsuit. Simonich 5-3 off. Contemplating those pot odds, and looks like he's going to go for it.
Yeah, the good thing about 5-3 off is that you're just not going to be dominated very often. So make some strong 2 pairs, straights. Not the worst hand to call with. Prefer call with a 5-3 off than like a King 3 off, probably.
Hey,
Whoa.
what a great
And
hand to
there
call
you
with.
go. I don't see this going any other way than a bet. Check raise, get it in, can't fold 10s. Got to play for stacks with a 3.
Yeah, 10s are in a really bad spot right now.
So Simonich is the effective stack here with 32 bigs behind. Let's see if he can get the full double up.
I think we see him make it around 20K. Maybe a little bit smaller.
So Kanunikov's continuation bet was 7,000, just shy of 20K. Simonich's check raise, it's 19,000 total.
It's a pretty interesting spot with the 10s because they can do with some protection. There's going to be some flush draws that are going to want to check raise. Occasionally going to check raise an 8 for value maybe. So I think he can go either way here, all in or call. Obviously, he just can't fold, and it's an unfortunate situation to be in.
Shame Spraggy isn't here. I know what a big fan of pocket 10s he is.
I think he might have fell a little bit out of love yesterday.
Lex too.
Kanunikov called the raise. Queen on the turn. Simonich now a 95% favorite. Legendary says, if I'd started watching poker yesterday, I'd have figured that 10-10 is the worst poker hand ever.
If you guys didn't watch Twitchy Pete's Monte Carlo mayhem yesterday, and you like poker, and you like fun, I suggest you go back and watch the replay.
When this broadcast is over, of course.
Yeah.
Good point, well made, Finton.
This is a very tough spot with the 10s. Queen's obviously not ideal. Could definitely have some queen X of spades that turn top pair and are now shoving for value. Maybe with the spade in your hand, you can lean towards a fold sometimes. There's not going to be a lot of natural bluffs that aren't spades. But at the same time,
what hands that you're beating you're doing this? Like what bluffs?
it's very hard to see a lot of bluffs, particularly with pocket tens, because you got the spade in your hand. So he could have some spade draws to check raise and decide to shove a turn. He might have something, like it's super ambitious to say like a 10-9, a Jack-9 or Jack-10 that picked up, you know, a good shot and that's going to shove. But there's not a lot of natural bluffs here apart from spades that would be willing to shove the turn. I'd be impressed to see a fold. I think it's a spot to go. Oh, he does fold.
Yeah. So raise from Moreau to 4,000. Only caught one of Mateus's cards, the ace of diamonds. The other is the 8 of diamonds. Flats on the button. Zaitun is in the big blind. And he calls as well with ace. Oh, it's Simonich with the ace-10. Zaitun with jack-4. So 4 players in this hand going to the flop.
Jack-4, woof.
It's definitely one of the ugliest looking hands in the game.
Yeah, but with so much invested already, having posted the big blind and the ante, I guess he feels any two. Well, this is bold.
Might actually work though. Nobody's connected with the flop in any way. It's a pretty hard spot to float, even with the backdoor diamonds from Mateus, just because it's multi-way. This is some street poker, as Mr. Lex Valdez would say.
It's pretty believable that you would lead with a queen too.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
You think 3 other players in there, somebody might get cute, might have caught something.
Mateus just doesn't care. He's just like, we'll see if you have a queen.
Something tells me this raise is going to work.
Antonius with the raise with the 2 sevens. Quick re-raise from Lau with the kings, all in. Pretty reasonable. Whoa.
3 pocket pairs in one hand.
No. Mm-mm.
Of course, Adrian Mateus was involved in a particularly famous incident in 2015 where it was queens, kings, and aces with jacks folded. I think there was also a pair of 5s in that hand as well.
Not now, fatty.
So Low, of course, is very short, and that's not really a major factor in Kanunikov's decision-making.
Wow, does he fold the 9s? I'm pretty impressed by that fold. I think Antonius is just going to have to call here. 12 not big blinds, 2 sevens. Not going to be able to fold.
Now, normally, I would say this is a great spot for Low. As Patrick Antonius does indeed call, putting Low at risk. He is a 4-1 favorite. He has the overpair. However, there is an old adage that it is always coming 7. And I'm not going to lie to you, I fear the Zhejiang Low right now.
It has been all about the 7s. It has been always coming 7. 777 entrants in this main event.
It's the year of the 7. The flop does not have a 7 on it. 5 tray deuce. Spades would be a factor. Should we see another one on the turn? It's a 7. 7 on the turn. And Patrick Antonius takes a commanding lead. Zhejiang Low now needs a king on the river to survive.
It is always coming 7.
No king. Antonius KO's Low. How do you feel about that one, Andre Latau?
7! 7! 7! Every time the 7 is coming.
Pocket 9s for Christoph de Mulder. He's all in, and Mateos has got 7s.
Oh, boy.
Unlucky, Christoph. Nice tournament.
Stephen just tweeted, I really feel for Lowe, having Pocket Kings cracked to send him out of the EPT Monte Carlo main event. The fact that it was a foregone conclusion as soon as the hands went on their backs, obviously, occasionally, the best hand does hold up.
Yeah.
But there is something frightening about seeing 7s. Knowing the legend of Andre Letao and his good friend, 7s guy.
I have better hands.
Oh, fancy.
You were just talking about them.
7s.
So you need a 7-4.
This is when two worlds meet. The stars nuts, the pocket 9s versus the 7. I think the people in the Twitch chats seem to be convinced that it's going to come 7.
How often does a 7 come, James?
Always. Although Holty 18 says 7 isn't coming because it's up against the stars nuts. Well, if it is coming, it's going to have to come on the river. De Mulder just has to fade 2 cards, and he does fade. In fact, he improves to a full house.
27.
Well, here are details of the event that will kick off 2019. We are very excited about this. The PokerStars Players No Limit Hold'em Championship. The biggest 25K in history. That's what we're expecting this to be. 8 million contributed to the prize pool, an extra 1 million to the eventual winner, 300 Platinum Pass packages being awarded throughout 2018. That's where the 8 million in contributed value is coming from. And so many people have already bagged a Platinum Pass. There are more to be given away in live events and in online events throughout the year. Head to PokerStarsLive.com to get the info on how you could potentially win a Platinum Pass worth $30,000. Patrick Antonius with the ace-king suited. Just calls. Deceptive.
There's a few shorter stacks on the table right now, though, so he might be trying to induce a shove from behind. Which he might just get with the ace-jack of hearts. Wow, just calls with the ace-jack of hearts.
Remember, the tables break in numerical order, high to low. This table is table 19. And chances are it will break in the next 90-minute session. So are we going 3-way to the flop? It looks like we are. And that flop is relatively low, 10-5-4. What is it, Joe?
Just trying to see if he is if he's single or double gutted. It's single gutted.
He needs a 6 for straight, nothing else.
Right. But a 9 makes him triple gutted.
Well, if a jack came, he'd have the 2 good shots.
He'd have the double gut shot.
Can't imagine Antonius is ever folding this flop against Mateos. 2 overcards, backdoor nut flush draw. If an ace or king comes, Mateos could certainly start barreling on it.
A guy wrote me a very angry tweet one time because I referred to a gut shot as a gutter ball.
It's very reasonable to call it a gutter ball, I feel.
It is a gut shot, not a gutter ball. Hey, look at that.
Antonius now with the nut flush draw and a gut shot straight draw. Now Mateos is double gutted. Just to be clear, I'm crushing you. It's not our decision to break the table. As I mentioned, they break in a certain order, and we, as the people just streaming this event, have no say in that matter. Sometimes we get lucky, sometimes we don't. But what would be really awful is if the staff said, well, we're breaking high to low, but you know what, we'll keep table 19 as it is because that's the one on the stage.
Oh, no.
Not fair for the players involved at all. We know Antonius is never going to be folding this hand on the turn. I would imagine more often than not just calling.
Antonius a day late.
9 of spades on the river for the absolute sickness.
5 of clubs. So Antonius is good.
The nothing.
It's a pretty good card for Mateos, though. If he has aces, kings, queens, he's going to be very happy on this river card. Counterfeits Jack 10, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him fire it off here.
Check from Mateos. Antonius checks behind and wins the pot. It was 103,000 in the middle by the end of that hand. Antonius adding 56.5K to his stack, retaking the table chip lead. 225,000 for Antonius, 136,000 for Mateos. They continue to be the two big boys, the two former champs at the top of the leaderboard. Simunic opens on the button. Raises to 5,000 with ace-queen. And he flops top pair with the nut flush draw. Antonius has not a lot. Gina says, you sound American talking like that about Portugal. News alert, he is American.
How dare you? I grew up 4 hours from the Canadian border.
That still makes you American, Joe.
Well, not if I grew up 4 hours north of the Canadian border.
Okay, okay.
But I didn't. You're right.
Pretty interesting that Antonius says looks like he's going to use this one as a bluff.
Bad timing, Patrick.
And this is exactly why against a lot of players, maybe you wouldn't choose to bet when you flop so hard here. Maybe you would play it a little bit differently. But if you're playing against someone that has a reputation for being super aggressive and is not going to give up easily in pots, I really like betting here.
I would imagine it's a one and done check raise, but you never know.
But I think for that reason, you can't really raise back.
Yeah, I would flat call this hand. You want to keep the bluffs in, and also
14.
It looks super strong no matter what you do, but at least if you just call, there's a chance he tries to bluff again. This is pretty much going to lock it up, though, that Patrick won't bet again.
Got showdown value now.
could be a hand that he ends up wanting to call one bet with now, though.
Yeah, people are going to call you there with the naked ace of spades a lot, or a big spade. So if another spade doesn't come, Patrick maybe call a river bet. Let's see what happens on the turn, though.
Simunic makes it 17,000.
I would love to see a double check raise. I'm not sure I've ever seen one before in a live tournament. It's not going to happen, but I'd love to see it.
It's on your bucket list.
Yeah.
Well, we have to say goodbye to Patrick Antonius and Adrian Mateos because their table is next in line to break. But we've got an exciting new lineup, a table headlined by Eric Seidel and Gail Bauman. Here's how they currently stand. Mazen Curry is the table chip leader with more than 120 big blinds. Ivo Bartoletti from Italy is the short stack with just 15 bigs. And Joe and Maria are calling the action for the next level of the EPT Monte Carlo main event.
All right, Mazen Corey opening pocket eights under the gun, ace-king for Bauman. Looks like Matthias has finally found a hand he could fold. And pocket jacks for Sar Wilf on the first hand at this table. Short stack Bartoletti seems to have, no, he's folding. There goes Penderson. Seidel is calling as well. 4 ways.
I am somewhat surprised to see that Bauman only flatted off of her stack size with ace-king. I know she was facing an under-the-gun open, but...
Well, she's flopped pretty good here. Corey can't really like it. And Gail's going to want to bet.
Yeah, I definitely don't think she wants to give anybody a free card for a flush draw, but of course, she knows that there's a chance that somebody could have flopped a flush already, but this isn't really a spot where she can do much about that. If that's the case, she still has to protect her hand.
That's what I was trying to think of. Protect her hand. All those gross hearts out there.
I think you'll see Wilf take one off here.
You are correct. Corey's out. Deuce on the turn. Pair of kings still good. Will he take 2 off?
I think that'll depend on her sizing here. You know, she has almost 55K. There's 46K in the pot.
He's going to take 1 off.
I'm very surprised to see her check here because the problem is he's going to check back a lot of the time, and you do give him a free card. Luckily for her, though, that is as brick as it gets.
Do you maybe check there knowing that if he's got a flush draw, he's going to call you anyway?
I think it
And then
depends
you've
on
got-
how good his flush draw is. I think facing 2 bets, especially seeing, you know,
Right,
how
okay.
few
You want
chips she
him
has
to
behind-
fold. You want him to fold a smaller heart.
Yeah.
So you bet. So you may, because you don't want to give him a free card and then he beats you at showdown with like a 6-high flush or something, or 8-high.
Right. I mean, he's probably not going to fold the ace of hearts, but once again, that's depending on the sizing. But there are plenty of other hands that contain other pairs that contain a heart in it that aren't such a big pair as jacks. I mean,
And it goes bet call. Wilf attempts to value bet. Pretty small. And Bauman rakes the pot. I don't want to say Monaco's expensive, but this guy kept talking about his private jet, and then he showed me a picture of Joe Namath in a cage. Stupid. Really stupid. Hey, Wilf limping in this hand with 2 queens. Well, he didn't limp. He just called. No 3-bet. To Kerpe was the original raiser with his ace-jack. And Seidel has flopped a no-good top pair. So it's just Wilf and Seidel now. Seidel does not improve on the turn. Looks like Wilf is going to go for 3 streets.
I like this sizing by Wilf. I think there's just a lot of draws out there. I think betting half pot, more than half pot would have been fine. I think you do get a lot of top pairs to call, as Seidel has.
Not a stellar run out for 2 queens, which is why it goes check, check on the end. And Sar is going to drag this pot.
You see Wilf just calling with ace-queen from the small blind.
And Mazen Curry, the original raiser here. And he has flopped a whole bunch of draws. Up and down draw, flush draw, pair draws. Bartoletti's hit his 3. Always pretty cool when not even a pair is the favorite. He's continuing. Wilf is out of here. What's Bartoletti do with bottom pair?
Well, it's interesting because he does have an overcard to the board, and he does have a backdoor flush draw. So I don't actually mind this. He gives his hand some protection from, 2 overcards c-betting that probably won't call a check jam.
Well, there's the jam. Called by Corey. Just 20 outs, no big deal.
But there is such a thing as too many outs.
That is almost half the deck. That's
Oh, I
wild.
hate to hear that before the card.
Sorry, sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah, especially
I
when
don't believe
Corey
in that
sees that his
nonsense.
5 and his 4 live. It's pretty good. It's looking good for him.
Well,
That's a really
there's
bad
one of the cards that doesn't make him a winner somehow. He's got 2 shots at it. 16 outs now.
No.
Takes
You want me to
away
go?
his 5 and 4. That is a heart.
You want me to go?
But
Fine.
Corey
Again.
makes his straight
Thank
on
you
the
for
river,
that.
and I actually liked the check jam from Bartoletti.
Well, it's time to let him go home. We've got a 3-bet back at our feature table.
And we got another check in the dark by Wilf after he called pre with 8s. Ooh, see that 8 come right off. But I think that with this board and with Wilf calling a 3-bet pre, Corey might just check back some of his weak aces. Obviously, I think he should be betting really good aces, but sometimes he could check back his weaker aces, but it looks like he's just going to go for a small c-bet. Wilf slow playing his set. Not surprised to see this go check back by Corey.
Pretty good player, that Mazen Corey.
once again, I mean, I do think Corey's going to be able to get away from this. I mean, if Wilf has a hand like Jack 10 of hearts, Jack 10 of clubs, Jack 10 of diamonds, hands that have, you know, backdoor flush draws and a gut shot, a double gutter on the flop, then he's going to continue with those hands. That hand gets there on the river, but
Corey does pay it off.
Well, Joe, we've got another new lineup coming to the main stage. Our next feature table is headlined by the 2012 EPT Berlin champ Davide Katai, plus Platinum Pass winner Makita Bodzakovsky, plus the pioneer of the watermelon bet, Mr. Ali Reza Fatehi. And I've got Spraggy to keep you company for the next level.
Connor Beresford with the ace-8 offsuit from early position.
We're finally going to get to see this guy in action. Whew.
And he has the ace of hearts in his hand. Goes in for the continuation bet. Fatehi does flop top pair, top kicker. A little bit less action for him to face this time. The fold with Queen 10 was tight. A fold with ace jack would be kind of ridiculous. Don't imagine he has any intention of that though. Is coming in for a call. And a fold, the 9-7 of spades. A heart turn would bring a bit of a sweat for Connor, maybe a card he'd be looking to barrel. But a deuce of clubs on the turn.
Could we call him Connor Barrelsford?
Check.
Not now, he's checked. So close.
Do you think we're going to see Fatehi fold top pair again? I don't.
Oh, maybe now.
Now it's not top pair.
Maybe.
He can no longer fold top pair.
Connor does have that all-important ace of hearts, so it's a little bit tougher for his opponent to have, well, it's actually, Joe, it's impossible for his opponent to have the nut flush. We may see him take a bluff here, try and move Fatehi off a hand like pocket 7s, pocket 8s. Maybe if he has a 6-5 suited, it's a tough spot.
This is why it comes in handy to remember your hand. Also, you don't want to be peeking down and be like, I know I have a red
Exactly.
ace, but is it the ace of hearts?
And there you go, he is taking a stab. And maybe, I don't know how much Connor Beresford has played with Ali Reza. He is going to get picked off pretty quickly here. I think justifiably so. But if he sees that he's folding top pair in some situations, then he should just be bluffing a whole lot. Like, there's certainly a chance that he folds a weaker jack. There may be a chance that he folds a 6, 7s, 8s, 9s, hands like this.
Ace King suited for Ali Reza.
That's some watch on his arm, I'll say that.
Ali Reza, Ali Raisin. 7,500.
Ugh, what a horrible hand. 2 10s.
Things could get weird.
Estegassi actually very short. I can't imagine we don't see a move all in here. Just the 10 big blinds. Super strong hand.
Do we have some EDM we can listen to while we're on Estegassi? I'm going to drink plenty of water just to be safe.
Double check of his hole cards and a move all in.
Call.
Quick call from Fatehi, and it's a classic race situation.
Like mansions versus yachts, one of these two hands has a slight mathematical advantage.
Let's see if the 2 10s can redeem itself today.
That's right, this whole segment started off with a discussion of the 2 10s. Tournament life on the line for Florat Estagasi.
And that's a dangerous flop. The ace-king flopping the flush draw. As you can see, he now has 15 outs. A 10 of hearts is a cruel turn. He would, of course, have a redraw. But 9 to the flush and still 6 outs to hit his overcard. A red 5 on the turn. No help for the ace-king. Estagasi will just have to fade the river to double up in this tournament. Ooh, another red one, but he's safe.
Dodges 15 outs twice.
How much?
All right, 10s, okay.
All right,
Baby
tens,
steps.
10s are making a comeback.
You're moving in the right direction. I love to see it.
32. Nice hand.
Well, these are the chip leaders at the end of day 2. Alireza Fatehi still a top 10 stack. Maxim Paniak, one of last year's finalists, is second in chips. David Peters, who had that deep run in the PCA at the start of this year, leads the field as we prepare for the action to continue on day 3 of the PokerStars and Monte Carlo Casino EPT main event. Join us next time from here in Monaco.